Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. In today's video we're going to take a look at one of the many different warbands in Age of Sigmar Warcry. We're going to take a look at all the fighters available to this warband, what they do on the tabletop, the abilities the warband has, and how to build a foursome on the tabletop as well. Along with this we'll look at some interesting ally options as well for the warband. In today's video, we're going to take a look at getting started with Age of Sigmar Warcry using the Brethren of the Bolt, a Blade-born warband from Warhammer Underworld for the Cities of Sigmar Castellites. Today's video is sponsored by Gap Games, a fantastic miniature wargaming store in Queensland, Australia. They stock a wide variety of miniature wargames from all things Games Workshop to some of my personal favourites, Conquest of the Last Argument of Kings, and all things Modifius wargames as well. Use our affiliate code in the link below to help support both this fantastic store and the channel as well. First of all, we have our reaction, Ultimate Resistor. The warband for the Brethren of the Bolt has a reaction available to all models with their rune mark. They can only make the reaction when a fighter is targeted by an enemy fighter's attacks before the hit rolls are made, and they can then subtract 1 from the damage of each successful hit, but not critical hits, to a minimum of 1. For a double, we have Thunderous Blast. Any model in the warband can pick a nearby visible enemy fighter and roll 3 dice. For each roll of a 3+, they can allocate damage equal to half the value of this ability, and you can also choose to instead pick an enemy fighter within 3 inch of another friendly fighter when using this ability, so long as that friendly fighter is within 6 inch of this fighter. We then have a triple for Ferocious Abandon. This triple allows us to make a bonus move equal in inches to the value of the ability for a fighter, and then they can also make a free attack action as well, so sort of like a nice cheap version of Rampage. Lastly, we have Quad for Unleashing His Fury. This fighter for a quad can make a bonus ranged action. When you do so, you pick another friendly fighter that is visible to the attacker to be part of the chain, and then you can pick a 3rd and 4th fighter as part of the chain as well. All the fighters in the chain must have the Brethren of the Bolt rune mark, but after making the chain, you can then use the last fighter in the chain picked to measure the range of your attack from, and for each fighter in the chain, you add 1 to the attack's strength and damage of the attack you make. Leading the box set is Paterfilius. This model has the leader rune mark, so you have access to all your generic leader abilities, a fairly resilient fighter with 25 wounds and a defense of 4. His damage output is pretty average in both melee and at range, though that range damage can be boosted up with some of the warband's special abilities. Next up is Friar Galvic. The heavy hitter of the warband. He has no additional rune marks outside the Brethren of the Bolt one, but in melee he does hit solidly with 4 attacks at a strength of 4 with a damage of 2 or 4 on a critical hit. 18 wounds with a defense of 4 as well is fairly solid for the points you're paying. Soror Tazat is the first of our lesser minions. This model's primary goal will be to form links with our heavy hitters and provide us with some nice little extra warband abilities, and the model does have a solid 5 attacks in melee though, with a solid damage of 2-3 for a crit. However, this model is fairly frail with just 12 wounds and a defense of 3. Next is Acolyte Arcus, whose thing over our other lesser minions is a range 2-inch melee attack, meaning this model can sit a little ways back from enemies, which is nice, keeping him that little bit more protected. Like Tazat, this model serves as a link in the chain, but also in melee has a nice strength of 4 to give it the edge over other enemy red shirts. Lastly, we have Scorch Jakob, easily the least powerful of the fighters in the warband. There isn't really a lot to talk about for this model. He does have a solid 5 attacks in melee, but with a critical damage of only 2, he won't be doing an awful lot. Don't like the others, he will serve well as a link in the chain. The first fighter we're going to look at adding to the warband is an Alchemite Warforger. This fighter has a lean rune mark for all those generic abilities, but also the warrior rune mark, which will give it access to a triple ability called Blazing Weapons. A friendly Castellite host fighter within 6 inch can add 2 to the damage of all their critical hits for the battle round. This fighter is on the lower end of characters with just 18 wounds, but does have a decent short range shooting attack with some decent damage. Now it's worth remembering that all the models in the Brethren of the Bolt are Castellite rune marked as well. Next, we have our first fighter from the Free Guild Command Corps box set. A solid enough fighter for its points cost with 4 attacks at strength 3, the Command Corps Whister Blade is quite interesting as it does only do 1 damage on its generic hits but has a nice crit damage of 5. This model has the Agile Rune Mark, which will give you access to a quad ability called Sinister Spymaster, where you can potentially make your opponent lose saved wild dice. Our next Free Guild Command Guild Corps fighter is the Great Herald, a solid 3 strength 4 attack to melee with a nice consistent damage of 2-4. This fighter has the Icon Bearer Rune Mark, giving access to a triple ability to me warriors. This allows all friendly Castlite host fighters within 6 inches to make a free move, though they do have to move closer towards the Great Herald. Next up, we have the War Surgeon from the Free Guild Command Corps. Not much of a fighter, but the name probably gives away what the fighter is here for. For a double, thanks to the Sentience Rune Mark this model has, you'll be able to use You Won't Even Miss It ability, which allows you to heal D6 damage to a nearby friendly fighter. While the number on the heal can be random, being a double certainly does make it a useful option over the generic healing triple Respite. Now lastly, we have our Free Guild Command Corps Gargoylean mascot. Honestly, it's here because we have the points for nothing else in our list. However, filling that last 50 points, this does mean we have another spare model to capture objectives for, which is nice, and I guarantee it'll probably be the most well-protected 50 points in any narrative campaign you play as you look to keep your friendly little mascot alive. And so here is our list using the Castlite hosts for the Cities of Sigmar and the Brethren of the Bolt. Now, leaders-wise, we've got Paedophilius and we've gone for the Alchemite Warforger. Moving on to our warriors, we have all the members of the Brethren of the Bolt, being Friar Galfic, Soratazat, Acolyte Arcus, and Scorched Jacob. We then have members of our Free Guild Command Corps, being the Whisperblade, Great Herald, War Surgeon, and the mascot Gargoylean as well. Now moving on, looking at the disposition we're going to build with Warband, our Battle Group 1 will contain Paedophilius, Friar Galvic, Soratazat, and Acolyte Arcus. These are going to be the ones that go together nicely, and this gives us a good chance to form a strong link. Battle Group 2, we're going to have the Free Guild Command Corps Great Herald, Scorched Jacob, and the Free Guild Command Corps War Surgeon. Now the reason we've got Jacob and the War Surgeon with the Herald is this means if these guys can get close to Paedophilius and all that, he can bring everyone in and help heal up, but also get everyone into a nice sort of fighting formation to provide those links. Battle Group 3 will be our other sort of generic fighters that are going to help support rather than be, members of the Brethren of the Bolt. Alchemite Warforger here with our Free Guild Command Corps Whisperblade as well for his cool ability, and our Command Corps mascot Gargoylean. We hope that this video was helpful in getting you started with Warhammer Age of Sigmar Warcry, and that it was able to give you some ideas and inspiration to start your own force in the game. If you have any other questions at all, please comment them down below and we'll endeavour to get back to you. And while you're there, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, and join our Discord server as well, linked in the video's description, for all our future Warhammer Age of Sigmar Warcry content.